I'll tell you this right now. If this back issue continues to rear its ugly head and it affects Caitlin Clark's game, and we're getting that CC from Iowa that we love once every 7 games, once every 8 games, and this 27-5, 28-6 is the new norm for Caitlin Clark, if that's what we're looking at, the WNBA should be...
I'm telling you right now, if this back issue starts affecting Caitlin Clark consistently, the WNBA has a far bigger problem than one injured superstar. Because this isn't just about Indiana Fever basketball anymore. This is about the commercial engine driving the entire league forward. The version of Caitlin Clark that transformed women's basketball wasn't simply good. She was explosive, unpredictable, must-watch television every single night. That Iowa version of Clark is what networks invested billions believing they were buying access to for the next decade. And if that version becomes less frequent because of lingering physical limitations, the ripple effects could reach every corner of the league.
Partners did not sign up for 27-5, 28-6. The broadcast partners signed up for 25-10-8, 25-12-6. That's what the broadcast partners signed up for. A 30 bomb every 4 to 5 games. That's what the broadcast partners signed up.
The most important part of this conversation isn't just basketball. It's business. The WNBA's massive media rights growth wasn't built around average production. It was built around the expectation that Caitlin Clark would continue evolving into the biggest ratings draw women's basketball has ever seen. We're talking about a player expected to dominate national broadcasts, generate viral moments weekly, and consistently produce the kind of stat lines casual viewers stop scrolling to watch. That expectation is what helped fuel a media valuation now exceeding $3 billion. And whether people want to admit it or not, everyone inside the sports industry understands it.
In total value, $3 billion. It's not $3 billion for the WNBA. It's $3 billion for the hopes that Caitlin Clark is a 25 points per game scorer, 24 points per game scorer, which has been done before in the WNBA. They're hoping that Caitlin Clark is a 23, 12, and 7.
This deal didn't happen in isolation. The NBA's influence mattered enormously in getting the WNBA included within the broader multi-billion-dollar media negotiations. Adam Silver and league executives understood something critical. Caitlin Clark had created momentum impossible for networks to ignore. Ratings surged. Ticket demand exploded. Social media engagement skyrocketed. Suddenly, the WNBA wasn't being sold as future potential anymore. It was being sold as immediate value. That changed the economics overnight.
Well, let's take a step back. If this back issue is a real thing, if this back issue is more severe than we're being told, then it makes sense why they went and got Raven Johnson a point guard. Well, then it makes sense why they changed the offense from pick and rolls to whatever the hell they're doing now. Well, it makes sense why they're pushing Sabrina and Asia and Paige and all these other players not named Caitlin Clark, because they know, we don't know yet, they know that this is something that's going to be lingering and hampering her game.
Becomes uncomfortable. Because once analysts started connecting Indiana's off-season decisions to Clark's health concerns, fans began looking at everything differently. Why bring in additional ball handling depth? Why alter offensive structures that previously maximized Clark's strengths? Why increase promotional focus on other emerging stars across the WNBA at the exact same time questions about Clark's health started surfacing? Individually, those moves can all be explained logically. But collectively, they created speculation that the league may already be preparing for scenarios nobody publicly wants to discuss.
Jeez, the NBA $77 billion and gave the WNBA $2.2 billion. So that's a stark difference. The WNBA has since added USA Sports and renewed deals with Scripps and Paramount to get to $3.1 billion. I believe Scripps is Ion. I could be wrong, but I think that's Ion. The deals come with reset provisions after the 3rd season. If triggered, the sides can renegotiate the terms of the deal, including the length and cost, but it's unclear whether the provisions can be triggered by the league.
Nobody is saying Caitlin Clark's career is in danger. But what people are questioning is whether Indiana and the league are quietly preparing for a version of Clark that may need more workload management than originally expected. And in today's sports economy, that matters enormously because the WNBA's visibility, ratings growth, and national television expansion are deeply connected to her availability and superstar production.
WNBA secured a record 260 national games for 2026 season. Every single game, the Indiana Fever are on national TV because they know what they want from Cece. They know what they want. They know what they want. If this is a 27-5 player, or 27-6 player, and the attendance dies down a little bit, the ratings die down a little bit, these broadcast partners are not going to be
that should grab everyone's attention. The league's new media agreements reportedly contain future reset provisions. That means broadcasters have opportunities later in the deal to reevaluate value, renegotiate terms, and reassess long-term expectations. Why does that matter? Because broadcasters don't invest emotionally. They invest mathematically. They monitor ratings trends, audience retention, advertising performance, and star power impact in real time. And right now, Caitlin Clark sits at the center of all of it.
Not unique in this battle, right? It's the free market that the U.S. has in the media market because there's a lot of participants. That has been accredited to live sports, keeping cable alive and live sports getting streamers. It's the one thing keeping everybody alive, quite frankly. That's the huge positive. Obviously, the challenge is making sure fans can find our games when they want to. I'm not running one of those media companies, so I can't fix the problem. I do know there's going to have to be consolidation over time, and you've already seen some of that consolidation. It's not just sports subscriptions, it's also
scheduling decisions tell the entire story. Indiana Fever games have become national television priority programming because networks understand exactly where the audience demand lives. Caitlin Clark isn't just another star in the WNBA ecosystem right now. She's a primary attraction driving mainstream crossover attention. That creates enormous opportunity for the league. But it also creates enormous pressure if injuries or reduced performance ever interrupt that momentum.
In a few years after 2028, expect these broadcast partners to get back to the deal. They're going to call Adam Silver and say, Adam, we're not getting the return that we wanted. Adam, we're not getting the return that we wanted. What are you going to do about it? Don't worry. We'll continue to pay them out of our pocket. You just sit tight. Here's some money back. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, hype the video, and subscribe to the channel. I will greatly appreciate it.
When the commissioner talks about streaming challenges, subscription fatigue, and broader sport media trends, she isn't wrong. Every major sports league is navigating those pressures right now. But the WNBA situation is uniquely sensitive because the league is still in the middle of converting casual curiosity into permanent fan habit. That transition takes time. And during that process, Caitlin Clark remains the single biggest audience magnet the league has. Now here's where the story becomes fascinating. Because the real battle may not happen this season. It may happen in 2028. That's when media evaluations, revenue negotiations, expansion expectations, player salary battles, and long-term rating projections could all collide at the exact same moment. And if Caitlin Clark's health becomes part of that conversation, the financial consequences could reshape the direction of the league for years. The players absolutely deserve a larger share of the league's exploding revenue growth. That argument is real, but the timing creates risk. Because if future media projections cool off after revenue expectations dramatically rise, the next collective bargaining negotiations could become significantly more complicated. That's a balancing act nobody wants to talk about publicly. The WNBA is simultaneously experiencing historic growth and historic dependency on one transformational superstar. Over the last several months, the WNBA has made a noticeable effort to elevate multiple faces of the league simultaneously. Paige Buchers, Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, and the next generation of stars. That's smart business. Every major sports league needs multiple marketable superstars to create long-term stability. But the urgency behind that expansion strategy also reveals something important. League executives understand they cannot afford to rely entirely on one player forever, no matter how historic that player may be. So now we arrive at the real question hanging over the entire WNBA landscape. What happens if the projections behind this media boom don't fully match reality by 2028? What happens if ratings remain strong, but not historic? What happens if Caitlin Clark is still great, but no longer carrying the impossible level of hype that launched this entire explosion? Because those answers won't just affect Indiana. They could shape the future economics of the entire league. And honestly, The next 18 months may determine everything. Drop your prediction below, because this conversation is only getting bigger.